Hello, everyone. Welcome to All the Words October Dragon Mode Sprints. I'm Shannon, writing under the pen name of S.C. Huston and the author of A Curse of Scales and Feathers, A Curse of Wings and Gems, and the Clash of Goddesses series. And the goal of this stream is to provide a low-key environment to be productive. It is strictly timed with 60-minute sprints, 5-minute breaks, for a total of 3 sprints during the roughly 3.5-hour stream. And you're welcome to use the sprints for whatever productivity you need, whether reading, writing, housework, coursework, day job, or just taking care of you. I use a sprint time to focus because focus issues. And that means I won't be in the chats until the breaks, but that I love to catch up with everyone so we can celebrate our successes and just talk about whatever we have going on. So today, I think I'm going to work on, I'm writing, but I just don't know what I'm going to work on today. I played around with like some of there's beta readers in AutoCrit now, and it's based off of AI. And you could like choose different beta readers or alpha readers to read your work and give you critiques. And I thought, none of these are exactly what I need. And I've tried tweaking a few of them, but there's a few of them that are like one of them that I thought I tweaked it just right. Still, like on one of my short stories was like, oh, you had on the page violence with animals, and that's totally against my boundaries. And I'm not going to be able to give you a good review or good like feedback because of that. And it wasn't on the page. And and it wasn't like I was torturing an animal. It was a guy who left out of the scene and came back with some food because they hadn't eaten in a long time, and the food was a dead bird, and they ate the bird. So I was like, okay, this doesn't exactly work. So I had spent time. This was like last week sometime. I started building like my own like ideal beta reader for that would be AI, but with parameters for a short story, because that was the other thing is that they're like, what, some of the beta readers that are on AutoCrit, they're really for longer stories. And then some of the feedback would reflect that, like, you should really give this scene more room to breathe. And I'm like, I can't. I have a word count limit I have to hit that I can't go over. And so I'll be like, I have to cut something out. But yeah, so I built my own and I tested out my short stories, and overall it did really good. And it gave me some really great feedback. And I made my own. I did it in ChatGPT because you can make GPTs, which is basically a bot that you're making that is an AI bot that does whatever it is that you want to do. You give it instructions, you tell it how you want it to respond. And so it's really cool. And I put all my short stories through it and got some really good feedback. And so I think I might start with my short stories. But I also have another story that I wrote last year, I think, that I've never done anything with it. It needs work. And I thought, I kind of want to go run that through that story now. Now that I'm done with my deadlines. I mean, I do have another deadline, but the deadlines that were all due yesterday, got those all done in time. But yeah, anyways, that's where I'm at. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm working on writing of some type, maybe to go get some more feedback on something or other. I don't know. But good morning, says Dharma to everyone. Are you working on anything this morning? Good morning, Shannon friends. I just completed my morning pages. Oh, well, you got a head start. And I need to make my smoothie and get started on my book reviews for today. I had a head start too with everything. I've already been focusing really strong because I'm part of 2 anthology committees, and our deadlines coincided for the first time yesterday. And then one of them, we finished the editing, and that's for the AWC anthology. We finished it yesterday. And so one of the anthology committee members already reached out and said, well, so what's the next step? So I had to put together the next step in timeline. That's why I said I have another deadline. And that by the end of the day tomorrow, I have to come back and give them some information about what we're going to do next with the pieces, because we all put like our notes on there, whether or not they fit the anthology. So I have to go through and kind of make a final decision of what we're going to keep and stuff. And then we have to decide what order to put it into. And then I do the formatting, and I got to get the formatting done so that Laura can finish up the cover. But yeah, got things to do. So, but I'll finish. I got that Discord message off, and then I spoke like through email with the other committee that I'm a part of. But I'm not in charge of that group. That's a women's fantasy writing group. Yeah. But I'm one of the first members. But yeah, I don't need to put that up there. I've been working in Vellum to prepare my upcoming book. Exciting. Weren't you doing audiobook? Oh wait, yeah, you have it. But now I'm shifting back to editing audio. There it is. My question was answered in the same comment. So how far did you get? Because I think you were what? You finished 28, I think, last time. But you had mentioned where you were at. But I think that was a couple days ago, or was that just yesterday? Oh Lord, everything's like running together. Got a lot of deadlines. All right, first sprint. Good luck, everyone. Nice time on the first sprint. How did you do? Didn't really do anything. I had written, like, it was a novella length work I'd written last year. I really like. It's gonna be part of a 3 novella series, and I have another half a novella written in this series. But I wanted to run it through the beta reader, which I did, but then it got me into thinking, oh yeah, what did I write exactly? So I went back to I'm reading my the novella that I wrote. So, and I'm actually right about a little over the halfway mark of reading through it. I like it. I can see where I need to improve, but yeah, so I just spent that time reading my own work. All right, let's see where we left off. As what Dharma was saying, have been working in Vellum to prepare my upcoming book, but now shifting back to editing audio. And I had asked, like how far she had gotten, because I thought it was chapter 28 the last time she had mentioned where she was at. And I'm working on chapter 29. And then Sam stopped in and booped like button. I was like, oh, I forgot. Yeah, Sam is also sprinting this morning. Like I had her sprint. I got too many tabs open here. Where is it at in here? It's one of these tabs. I had it open, but then I forgot, not that one. I don't know. I have too many tabs open. I have her in a tab open. And I was like, oh, yeah, I was going to stop in and say hi. So I went over and said hi in her sprint. But yeah. And then Morgan came in. Hello. How's it going? But I don't know how you do it. You're up late, doing the stream last night with JC and then back up early this morning. I guess. I don't know. I was so tired. I went to bed early last night, but it was great hanging out with everyone. Are you working on anything today? And Tanya came in. Hello. Good morning. Just pop in and say hello. And before my appointment, happy writing. Have a great day. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And then Eva came in. Good morning. And Additionally came in. Good morning. Well, hello all. So nice to see everyone. Are you guys working on anything? Well, and then Additionally says, I'm drafting the road to the station too, making progress, but need to make more. LOL. How's everyone doing? You missed my whole thing that I did in the first, before we started. So, like the beta readers that are in AutoCrit, right? We were talking about that before. I found that none of them really worked for what I wanted. So I spent some time like designing my own, taking pieces from the ones that I liked and just developing it further for specifically for a romantasy short story. And I created a GPT in Chat GPT and gave it instructions on how I wanted to respond and what questions it would answer and how it would develop its, or how it would like critique the work, I guess. And so I had started doing that on all my short stories. I think it was last week sometime when I did that. And I hadn't done it. I remembered this novella that I wrote last year that is just kind of sitting there waiting for me. I've only drafted. I've not ever gone back and revised it. But I thought, let me run it through that and see what it does, because it's for short stories, not for novellas. And it did overall pretty good. But yeah, I think that was really interesting. I thought you might find that interesting since we were talking about it, but I don't know. But the AutoCrit stuff. Did I read all this? How's everyone doing? Yeah, I read it all. And then Gwyneth popped in. I'm about to leave out, though. Leave likes and love my shift today. Happy productivity. Love before my shift today, not that loving the shift. Happy productivity. I appreciate that, Gwen. Thank you for stopping in. And Emma stopped in. Hey, SD and friends. I did see your video. I don't think I left a comment. I know I hit the like button about the curriculum, that everyone's like doing a curriculum right now for their hobbies, I guess. I don't know what I've seen a few videos on it, and it's always interesting how you approached it. Which email can I use to message you? I thought I knew, but it's the AWC email, so that's probably not the one. So there is one on my YouTube account you can look at, but if you SD Huston, just all lowercase, one word, .author@gmail.com. That works too. If worst comes worst, you can just email it to AWC, because I get the notifications and I'll just go forward it to my author email. And I can respond to it from that email, and then you have it. Hey, Andy, how's it going? And hello. Hi, friends popping in. Just booping like that. Lots of people popping in. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Paula. Cass says, I wrote a haiku as part of my book review for Boo. Haiku. Oh, I love that. Can you guess who? From my haiku, under a full moon, a shapeshifter prowls the woods, growling and howling. I love it. It's been a while since I've written a haiku, but I love that. That's a good poem, says Jocelyn. Good morning, all. Good morning, Jocelyn. How are you doing? I will be lurking, or I be lurking here. I don't know why, but I heard that a pirate voice just now. Thank you for lurking. Hey, Andy, I should write a haiku about you. Yes, especially since he lost his self, right? Because he used to be self-publishing or self-published with Andy, and he lost his self. So now he's just published with Andy. That would be cool. Thanks, Jocelyn. Laughing. And of course, Andy, my sleep is awful lately. I can't fall asleep or stay. Oh, that's why I'm up early. Okay. Well, Fingers crossed that it gets better. At work right now, trying to catch up on stuff I'm behind on before I go on vacation. Ooh, vacation sounds nice. When does that start? That's cool. Yeah, I doubt I'll ever find myself, to be honest. And hello, says we reverse. Got through the end. All right. Second sprint out of 3. Good luck, everyone. If you have to leave out, thank you so much for coming. And that is Time. How did you do? I finished reading the novella I wrote a while ago. I like it. I can see where I can change things. But I think I'm going to worry about revising it next year because I have a lot that I plan to publish next year with these short stories. And then I went to go get another cup of coffee. And then I opened up my second short story in the 8-part short story series that I want to have done and get to readers. I'm going to at least try to get the first 3 stories to my Omega readers in November or December. I've already talked to them. Excuse me. But yeah, so I opened the second story. I'm like, where did I leave off? I don't remember where I left off because it's been over a week. So I was rereading stuff and I was like, oh yeah, okay, I changed that. That was a revision. There's a revision. I'm like, oh, I almost finished this. I was almost done with this revision. And I was just getting to a point where I think is where I left off with my revisions from last week when the timer went off. So hopefully I should be able to dig into revisions in the next sprint. And let's see how you guys are doing. Left off with Weaver Words, came in right as we were going on the last sprint. So are you working on anything today? And I'm going to take the last 2 weeks of November off. Oh, wow. Well, that sounds nice to be able to take a full 2 weeks off. I mean, I'll have 2 weeks off at the end of December, but then 2 weeks off in November or beginning of January. So I take a month off at the end of the year heading into next year. But I'm going to see you much then in November, but we'll come back together in December because beginning of November, I'll be gone for a conference. I'll be gone like a week. I leave on Sunday, the first Sunday of the month, and come back on Friday or Saturday. So I'll be gone a week. So I'll see you probably for 1 week on the YouTube live streams around, maybe before you head off to your vacation. Additionally, says hi to Weaver Words, waffles for Andy. Hannah, hello. I'm listening to a book called Glamorous Illusions by Lisa Bergren. I'm not sure how you say that the last name. This sounds familiar, but I don't think I recall what that is. I'm at 15%. And how are you liking it so far? Good morning, happy Thursday, says Miss Page. Hello, Miss Page. It's nice to see you again. And I saw you over in Jody's stream, I think it was a few days ago. I meant to be there the next night, but my internet had gone out. Everybody's internet had gone out here. AT&T was doing something. We got the message saying it was going to be out until 3 o'clock in the morning the next day. So I was like, okay, well, guess I'm not seeing anybody that night. But hope all is well. Are you working on anything? Hey, additionally for Weaver Words, Jocelyn had to step away for a moment. Weaver says, I'm drafting this next chapter. I'm just focusing on messy notes and dialogue right now. I find once I get the dialogue down, everything else falls into place around it. I feel the same way. Yeah. Most of my, I call my verbal vomit drafts, they're mostly just dialogue. And it's because I feel like, okay, if I get the dialogue in, then I can fill in the rest of the stuff that's happening around it. So yeah, I feel the same way. I do the same thing. That's what most of my first drafts tend to be short because I'm mostly dialogue. My first draft for A Curse of Scales and Feathers was 23,000 words long. Yeah. It was just all verbal vomit. But, it's crazy. It's like, I would say that half of the dialogue I used in that first draft, I didn't end up using in the book in the end. It just didn't make sense. But yeah. But I think because I'm a pantser or whatever you call it, discovery writer, intuitive writer, doing the dialogue, and I've known this since my early 20s, just doing dialogue scenes between two characters helps me learn about the characters because how they react to each other and what they say to each other, and then how they react to what they say to each other. It helps me learn what type of people they are. So I think that's really what a lot of that is. A lot of it's just discovery stuff when I first started. So made it to the end of the comments. We still have about a minute left before we'll be heading into the last sprint of the morning. 1 hour. I don't know. I think I should hopefully be able to get done with this second short story. But even though I've revised the first short story, I'm revising the second short story. The third short story, oh my gosh, that is going to be a hard revision because I wrote that story when I was sick a few weeks ago. And I was like half in, half awake, and then falling asleep in the middle of a sentence, middle of a scene, and wake up and write some more. And then I remember as I was getting over my sickness, as I was staying in bed for a couple of days, I start reading. I was like, this makes no sense. I'm like, that one is going to be fun to revise. So read dialogue, same for Adeshle. Nice. I've yet to do it, but I've considered interviewing my characters at the start of writing. I mean, you could. That would be really cool. I've thought about it too because people do say that's one way to like figure out your characters before you start writing, but I've never done it. But now that you're bringing it up, I feel like I might want to do it. I've heard that as an approach, and I imagine it might help or work. Yeah, I think whenever I think about interviewing my characters, it sounds so like modern, and I write in epic fantasy settings, but I bet you we could tailor it to whatever setting we have. That was just my own block, I think. Okay, last sprint. If you had to leave out, thank you so much for coming. Everyone else, I'll see you on the other side. And that is time on the last sprint. How did you do? I trying to add up my time here because I didn't go the whole time. 51 minutes. I had to go through my document a little bit more and figure out, and I started rewriting a section, so I didn't quite finish it. I'm on the last chapter of the second story, and I added 438 words in revision. Okay, let's see how you guys did. Looks like we left off right about here. I heard that this is an approach. Oh, that's why I didn't have the full time, because we were talking about interviewing characters at the start of writing. And Adeshri says, I've heard that as an approach, and I imagine it might work or be helpful. And I was like, I've heard of it too, but I just always kind of dismissed it because I was thinking, like, interview, it feels very modern. And I write in an epic fantasy setting. And even some of the questions like, what job do you have? Or what's your occupation? I'm like, well, yeah, people do have jobs and occupations in like medieval times or whatever. I mean, it's a little, mine's like around 1000 AD our time is kind of the I don't know what you call that. Like time frame that is from our world. Is a secondary Earth trope. So it's roughly the same time. By the time that black powder was being invented, it wasn't yet used for guns because those were not invented yet. But so anyways, I was thinking that those character interviews, and so I was like, oh, you could like make some really deep and insightful interview questions. And I actually made one. So I went to go write it down somewhere so I wouldn't forget it. But the question, hold on, let me find it because I have it where I wrote it down. I thought it would be a really good question. It kind of reminds me of like a question that's like not a joke or whatever, but like a what if situation that I've heard before, but I changed it a little bit. So the question is, where did I put it? Oh, here it is. Okay. Okay. So you're on a sinking ship. So this could go for like anything. Like you could be on in the past or present or future, and it could be a sinking ship like on a river of mercury or something. Who knows? I mean, like mercury water instead of like H2O. Or it could be like maybe it's a battleship that's falling apart or whatever. So you could do it. You could apply it to any scenario. So you're on a sinking ship, and it's you, your sibling, your mother, your spouse, your child, and your best friend. So there's 6 of you all together. There's only one lifeboat or craft or whatever that could save you guys, but it can only save 5 people. So who would you sacrifice? So I've heard this question like in another way, like it's you, your wife, your child, your mother, and one has to go. Which one would go? And the answer, or one that you could keep. Sorry, which one would you keep? And the answer to that is your mom, because you can always get a new wife. You can always make new children. And so I was like, okay, that's kind of ruthless. But what if it was the other way around? Like everybody can be saved, but one person, and you're part of that equation. So you could be like the one person you're not saving. So this, depending on what your characters are, the way you develop them, would, answering that question could show a lot. Like maybe they would sacrifice their sibling because they've never had a good relationship with their sibling, or maybe it would be their mom because their mom is terrible. Or it could be themselves, and that could tell you a different thing about the character. Anyways, I started developing, and I was like, okay, I'm spending too much time on this. I need to get back to revising. So I went back to my story. Anyways, yeah. And as Ashley was saying, yeah, right. When I was saying how I never really thought about the interview questions because it just feels modern. And the questions I've seen some of the questions like, what's your favorite color? And that kind of stuff. I'm like, it just didn't feel like it was enough for me to interview my characters over. But something like dilemmas would be something, because it would really tell you something about your character, right? And it doesn't necessarily have to be what would be morally right. It just really depends on your character. Retailing the interview. Here's an idea. What if they're held captive and being asked questions, maybe to figure out if they did something wrong in their character and nature of events. Oh, that's really cool. I like that idea too. Well, I'm not a fan of that idea. A video game called Dragon Age, I forget which sequel, had an inquisitor who had one of the characters, a bard, essentially being questioned about the facts of past events that the Inquisition wants to know about, and of course the people involved. I did chuckle a bit because yesterday I was working out with my gym trainer, and I've been with him now for 5 years, because I started with him like at the beginning of October, the end of September, 5 years ago. But anyways, words escape us sometimes. And I was like trying to say, like, come up with a word for the people he works with. because he has many people he works with that he trains. And I was like, I can't think of the word, but characters. And he's a D&D person. And I was like, oh, okay, no, customers. He was like, you mean clients? I'm like, yeah, whatever. But there were characters in my head because I couldn't think of any other word. I knew it started with the C, and all I could think was characters. And he was like, yeah. He was like, okay, well, if all of my clients are characters, and he was like, Shannon, you're the bard. He also works with my husband. And my husband would be the sheriff, but he did say it could be a barkeep, but he's probably the sheriff. So he was like starting to talk about all his clients and which character they would be in a D&D game. This was yesterday. It was so funny because I couldn't think of the word I wanted. I was like, just characters. But yeah, anyways, let me go on. So I had a chuckle because I was thinking that when I would start reading this, who had one of the characters, a bard, essentially. I was like, oh, that's me. I'm the bard. But then I had to let him know. I was like, I really can't sing. I could tell stories, but I can't sing because I'm partially tone deaf. And I was like, oh. But he didn't give me a new character, so... Once again, not promoting that as a general approach in life, LOL, but that sort of Inquisition interview to me is believable in a fantasy setting. I think it's believable because I think we have to look at it from the perspective, like, we're not there to weigh in moral judgment on our characters as we're getting to know them. We're getting to know them no matter how awful they might be, because then we know who they are in the story and who they'll represent in the story, right? Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I like the idea. How was it you were able to cast shadow magic, Paladin? Who taught you these arts? Well, Rogue, explain to me why you thought saving the princess and taking no reward was the best idea. Sounds unproductive. I have a whole story here. I don't know. I'm just spitballing ideas. I was doing that. I didn't look in the chat, but I was doing the same thing you were doing. I was spitballing ideas by coming up with that idea, with the whole ship thing. I'm sure better inline questions could be crafted, but you get the general idea. Yeah, I mean, I had started coming up with some other possible thoughts to ask, but some of them. Here's another one, but I don't think I quite completed it, and that's when I decided I need to go back. But okay, you discover that your ruler, mentor, or deity is corrupt, but exposing them would bring chaos to your world. And then what? I didn't know what to ask for that. Do you reveal the truth, or do you do something about it? Or I don't know. I couldn't figure out the rest of it. And I was like, forget it. I'm spending too much time doing this. Let me go back to revising. But yeah, I was going down the same mental rabbit hole. Kat says, I'm still here. I missed a chatty bit because I was on a call. No worries. I finished one book review, spent too much time playing with my haiku. Well, it was lovely. We liked it. So... hi, Kat. How's it going? Hi, sorry I'm late. You're on time. It looks like you hopefully were able to get some stuff done. I'm working on retelling of Aladdin, but Jasmine's side of the story. I'm trying to make it snappy with short chapters and really visual descriptions, but it can be tough. So is this going for like a short story then? Or you just, because you say you're trying to do it like short chapters and really visual descriptions. It doesn't mean it has to be a short story. I was just curious if that was like your goal because of what you're trying to do. But I think you can do it. Yeah, there was an author. There's an author too. She did Aladdin retelling from Jasmine's point of view. It wasn't too bad. Good morning, everyone, says Joanne. Sorry I'm late. You're on time. Thank you for coming. Hope writing going well for you guys. Currently revising chapter 18 of Project Sugar and Spice and hoping to finish it later today. Fingers crossed. JL, hello everyone. How's your day going? While the house is quiet, hoping to get some notes taken from my second book, gives me something to do while I wait for feedback from the editor on the first book. Oh, it's coming. And then Rita came in. Good morning. How's it going? Posting 2 Thursday night dance parties today. So first one just went up. Now I'm working on it. If you want to drop the link, please feel free. Now working on a grant submission. Today's the deadline. I like your dancing videos. They're fun. I like your videos. Your like your shorts and stuff. They're cool. They're lots of fun to watch. Good luck with the submission, Rita. Now working on a grant submission for today's deadline. Is that for writing or something else? Joanne says to JL, good morning. I see you and I'm doing okay, hanging in there. Just revising chapter 18 of 30 for Project Sugar and Spice. Eva says I'm about ready to post my next Substack and get some emails sent out. I'm dragging this week. I feel like I'm dragging just a bit too. I had a lot of deadlines to get done by yesterday, and I did. But I realized when I first finished my deadlines, I was like, okay, I think it was like 2:30 or something. And I was like, what am I going to do? It's 2:30 my time. And I was like, I feel like I'm adrift. I was like, I don't feel like I have enough time to get into a writing project. So that's when I kind of took a break. I played with the kitties a little bit, read a little bit of a book. And then I don't remember, what did I do? I did something else. And then that's when I started brainstorming my scavenger hunt for Romantasy Adventures and got that all done. But I got to start coding it next. But today I was trying to get some words in. Thanks for hosting. Thanks for being here. I finished another book review. Woohoo! Both reviews today were picture and that I read this week to celebrate the spooky season. I want to write another review from my June list, but I need a brain break. I feel like that too. My brain's starting to hurt a little bit. Joanne, that's awesome. Seriously, can't wait for you to publish it. I'll be one of your first customers. Yep. Picture books. Did I say something else? I think I just said today we're picture that I had. Okay. I knew they were because as soon as I read this comment, I saw the book cover in my mind from last night on your channel. So I knew what you're talking about, but I probably was just assuming too much because other people were like, what? Got to 18% my book. Nice. Hopefully you're enjoying the reading. I've got to a point now where I start reading a book and like if it's a book 1 or something like that, I look to see if the series is done or whatever. At least that's what I thought I was doing. And this was supposed to be a 2-book series and it showed the second book cover. It was really pretty. And I thought, okay, I'm going to go ahead and read this. And I read it and I just finished reading it last night, the first book. And I went to go get the second book and it doesn't come out until May of next year. I'm like, what? And I'm tired of reading books that like end in a place where the story is not done. And now I have to wait for the rest of the story and totally know how hypocritical this is with me writing a fantasy series or, romantasy series myself that's got overarching stuff happening. But I feel like at least mine are standalone. So the romance is wrapped up just fine. The main question is answered, but there's an overarching like plot thread of the fantasy plot thread that's going on in the back of my books, which won't be answered until the sequel series. But like the one I read last night, like, and I pick up clues and I put things together pretty easily. So I knew that the person that she was in a romance with from the beginning of the book was going to end up being the bad guy. And that the bad guy that feels like was the bad guy for most of the book was going to end up being her love or whatever. And it did end up being her because they bond with wolves. And so it's her wolf's mate is his wolf's mate or whatever, which they start hinting at that her wolf had a mate, but she wouldn't share who her mate was. And I was like, I know who it is. And it's exactly what happened at the end of the book. So everything she thought about the good guy, the one she had a romance with, ended up being the terrible, terrible bad guy. And then the terrible, terrible bad guy was actually going to be the romance, but nothing really happened because it was the end of the book when she's finding all this out. And I'm like, this is not resolved. And it's supposed to be a romantasy, right? But there's no HEA or HFN really. So, I mean, I guess it could be a happily for now because she's going to work with the seemingly bad guy for all the book. But we don't really know where it's going yet. We don't know what's going to happen. And she doesn't, there's no touching between them at all because all she thought of him was being terrible the whole book. So like, there's nothing there. You just know that there's going to be something there in the next book. But it's like, yeah, I don't know. So I'm having trouble finding books that are not in a series or that are in a series that's complete. That's my issue right now. There, sent it. Nice. Mark Substack off. Yay. Did you drop the link too? I haven't got that far yet. Hey, to everyone from Adeshle, maybe I'll get that email out to you today after all. I'll be looking for it. Hey, Adeshle. Yay for Substack completion, Eva. Yeah, I'm making it a 25,000K story. It's part of my fairy tale retelling series, the 5th book out of 7. Oh, cool. Or do you have the other ones like, why do I feel like you've talked about this before and I just don't remember it? Are the other ones published or are you like holding off until you write all of them? I feel like asking this question I've asked you already. I feel like it's something that you answered to me already and I'm not remembering the answer. Just curious how people approach things. Because like with my short stories, I'm trying to finish them all before I start publishing. But I think it's easier with short stories. It's harder when you have like a novel you've been working on for 2 years. I'm like, I'm not going to publish this until I write the next novel, which could take another 2 years. But yeah. Now if I could only do it every week, right? LOL. Oh, by the way, I think there is a conference online coming up. There was one that I saw that was free. Of course, they're going to upsell you. And I deleted it because I was looking at the, it was in my email. And I was looking at the people that were there. Now, Brehm, B-R-E-H-M. I'm trying to remember his first name. He does like a lot of these, puts a lot of these different ones together. I think it's John. Ray Brehm. I think Ray is his name. I've seen a lot of these where he will get a bunch of authors together to put on a conference in a week. It's all online. And founder of Pub Funnels. That doesn't sound like it's him. He is an author. Maybe it is him. Anyways, I've seen him put together a lot of these conferences for 1 week, and then it's free, but you only get like the recordings that come out, and it's all recorded, and you get the recording that day. And if you don't watch by the end of the day, you don't get access to it unless you pay for it. And they all have like things that they're giving out as part of the recordings, but you have to pay for it in order to get those things. If you're just watching for free, you usually don't get them. Now, sometimes there will be authors who have things on there that you can download even if you're a free watcher. And then I've just gone through so many of them now that I don't really learn anything new. So I don't really want to pay for it. But I know that I was like, is this a kid that's on here talking? Not to say that a kid can't teach, I guess, something about writing. I don't know. I just don't think that a kid who looks like they're 9 or 10 could actually be like a teacher at a conference. And she has his last name, Brem. So I'm like, I don't know. It just automatically hit me as like nepotism, that kind of thing. And I was like, I don't know. I just couldn't get over the icky feeling I had from it. And so I deleted it. I don't know why I had that feeling, but I just did. So I was like, I'm not going to that. But I don't know if that's the one that you're talking about. And my feelings could be completely wrong. And I could be completely misunderstanding the way it was set up or whatever. But it's just the first feeling I got from it. But let me see if I can find the info on it. I don't know much about it, but I got an email on it. Oops, the URL is too long to post. It's okay. Thanks for this, Shannon. Have a wonderful weekend. Happy Thursday, y'all. But it's called, yeah, I think that, nope, that's not the one then. If it's part of Ally. Self Pub Con. Or is it? Man. I'm looking through it. This is not the one I was thinking of. This one's got people on it that I actually know, because other than the Brem and one other author, I was like, I don't know the rest of the people on here. This is not the one I was looking at. So Orna Ross, of course, that's Ally. Michael Laron, Maddie Dalrymple. I know those ones. Jeff Elkins is the dialogue doctor. He's on YouTube. And one of the people that work for him has spoken at the conference, my conference, the Author Tube Writing Conference, the last 2 years. And I've heard interviews with him and stuff like that. He's really good. Sacha Black, awesome. Ricardo Fayette, oh my gosh. Y'all, he's like a masterclass when it comes to finance and stuff like that. And like, I don't think of myself as being an idiot, but when I listen to him talk, I'm like, what is he talking about? Let me hear this again. Let me hear it again. And it makes sense, but like, it's such a high level of thinking that I don't get it most of the time. But when I start getting it, then it clicks. And he's just very, very smart. He's very smart with what he does with his finances as an author. Dan Holloway, I know. Mark Leslie Lefebvre, of course. We know him. Julie Broad is awesome. Joanna Penn. I mean, this is a really good panel. There's some in here I don't know, but I know a lot of these people. I've heard of Michael J. Sullivan. I don't know what he does. Oh, Andy Weir is in this. Okay, so The Martian, the author of The Martian. Looking. There's Troy Lambert. He is of Plotter. I actually had a chance to have him on the podcast twice. My podcast twice. Really cool. I don't know anybody else on here. But there's lots of authors. You have romance, historical fiction, more romance. There's a press on here, Renard Press. I don't know what that is. The author and founder of Books Go Social. I don't know who that is, but I've heard of Books Go Social. So, yeah, there's some really good people on here. This looks like a good one. Thank you for sharing. This is not the one that came through my email that had a kid as part of the lineup. So, yeah, my first 4 are published. Okay. If you would like to drop a link, feel free. I feel like I've said that to you before. Why does it feel like I've had this conversation when I'm like all these things I'm thinking? I feel like I've had this conversation. I don't know. It's been a busy morning. Yeah, still trying to get the words. Oh, I hope you get them. The words. Hello, Adeshale. How's everything going with you and your other half? Not sure if you got it yet or have had the chance to read it, but I did read the prologue and sent my feedback. I think that was to Adeshle. Yes, Adeshle. We're good. How is it? The puppies got it. Thanks. And thanks. The puppy's doing fantastic. He went to doggy daycare to play with friends yesterday. I'll be taking him to see his brother next week. 2 hours round trip of driving, but worth it. Oh, this is cute. Okay, Hubs made breakfast. So yum, that happens. Shuffles files. Now back to work on the grant. Hoping to make some new videos for the channel either today or if not Monday. Just got a lot going on with my mom. Well, you got to take care of you and your family sometimes. Oh my gosh, JL, how are you? Long time no see. LOL from Kat. Yes, Rita. Yes, I had to take a big step back as my mother unfortunately was a victim of elder abuse, which has caused, as you can imagine, a lot of issues that have been time consuming and challenging. Yeah, I mean, and you've got a lot going. I know with your book, I know you were trying to get that out this year, but sometimes, family comes first. Totally understand that. Fine, let me look up the link for the retellings. I want to check it out for sure. I feel like I wonder if when I click on it, I'm be like, oh yes, I have seen these, and why didn't I do something about it if that's the case? There's still ways to go before we're fully settled with everything, but finally able to set aside some time for myself again to work on writing. How is everything with you? Hi, Adeshle and Jocelyn and Kat and Joanne and anyone I miss. Oh wow, hugs, lots of people. Doggy daycare, doggy friends. It's so adorable. I thought so too. That sounded really adorable. But yeah, we've got our doggo. He's in training right now. We're putting him through several different trainings that are like kind of the steps that he has to go through before he can go to becoming an aid dog. What's that called? Oh, there's a name for it. Now it's slipping my mind. I see the link. I'm gonna go grab it. And now I'm like curious. I gotta see this because I feel like, have I not seen this before? Yes, I did. I saw this. Why didn't I do something about it? It doesn't say I have them. Yeah, it doesn't say I have them. Okay, I'm going to keep this up because I'm definitely interested. So you say you're going to have 7 altogether. Yeah. So you got the Little Mermaid and the Prince and the Frog, Beauty and the Beast, Cinderella. So cool. Service dog. Yes, service dog. Words are escaping me today right now. Like I couldn't remember what my trainers' people are called, or clients, but I called them characters yesterday because I couldn't think of the right word. So service dog. Yep. Let's go back here a little bit. I can't wait, JL, until the book's out. I'm getting me a paperback copy. Oh, it'll be awesome. To JL, I'm good. So stinking busy, but busy is good. I think so too. And there is some link for Kat's books. So, hey, sorry. Hey, Rita from Kat. Service dog. It's exactly, yeah. So he's going through his next training. He's hitting a year old while he's in training. So there's only so much we could do during his first year. And yeah, and they send us videos of the training and stuff, and it's so sweet. He's a good dog. I've got my dancing brain on this morning, so I get it. Yeah, it's 7 in the series, but you're going to make me blush. Aw. Oh, I think this is cool. I really love it. So I love retellings. I think people are like, some reviewers can be really harsh because there's like a fine line, I think sometimes. Like, okay, so my first book in my fantasy series was based off of Irish myths. But I wanted to also kind of work off of Snow White and Rose Red, which is not the Snow White from the Seven Dwarfs story. It's a different story. But the reason why that story hasn't done so well in the media and stuff is because it has a lot of like holes in the plot. So I was like, I'm going to fill these holes and I'm going to do it just slightly different. And so I would advertise it as inspired by Snow White and Rose Red. And there were some people who was like, this is not Snow White. This is, where's the dwarves? And I'm like, it's not the same story. And then someone would be like, I've read Snow White and Rose Red. I don't know why the author continued the story past where it ended. I'm like, because it didn't really end in a place where the plot made sense. And I was like, okay, whatever. And after that, I thought, I'm just not going to say, if, in most cases, I'm not going to say. I think that part of my book blurb for A Curse of Scales and Feathers does have Beauty and the Beast in there. somewhere. It's not in the actual blurb itself. I think it's at the very bottom. But I didn't write it. I hired Brian Cohen's company, Best Page Forward, and they wrote it. And it was inspired by Beauty and the Beast. So is it in there? No, I think, it's not in there. Because I think I told them that I didn't really want to have that in there because of all the backlash. And it wasn't a whole lot, but still there were some reviews. There was backlash with the Snow White and Rose Red story. So I thought, I'm not going to put it in there, even though it is kind of, based off Beauty and the Beast. And then the second one's kind of based on, inspired by The Little Mermaid. I even had a beta reader who was reading my second book, and she stopped like on chapter 7. She was like, there's too much of this that you took from Disney's The Little Mermaid, and you're going to get in so much trouble, and I can't read anymore. And that's where she left off, right? And of course I sent a thank you note, and I just said, thank you so much for your concern, but just so you know that the parts that you're talking about actually came from the original story. So, I didn't take it from Disney, because the Sea Witch has a garden that is made of, I can never say the word, polyps, right? And they put that into the Disney version. And the Disney version, it's called Ursula's Garden. Mine's called The Garden of Souls. So, and then in the main book, or the main story, I don't remember what it was called, but the whole idea, I wanted the soul part because in the main Little Mermaid story, souls was something that the mermaids and merfolk did not have. Like they were born without souls, but to offset that, they got to live for 300 years. But when they died, they just became foam on the sea. And in order to get a soul, you'd have to have a human fall in love with you. So the Little Mermaid in the original story, she did love the prince, but it was not the only reason why she went to go live on the land. Part of it was because she wanted a soul. So, which that was taken out when it came to the Disney version. But yeah, anyways, there you go. So I just don't say anymore, but and I think it's because mine are not like that close with any of the stories. I have bits and pieces that I pull from the different stories that I like to use, but I think that because it's not that close. But then, I think I got a review at one point on my first story on the Curse of Scales and Feathers, where someone said, this is too much like Beauty and the Beast. And I'm like, well, that's what it was based off of. But anyways, oh my gosh, Bruno is acting so jealous because I have 4 chickens trying to lay next to me while I work, and he just got right up and in between them to shoo them away. Oh, Bruno. The puppy was wanting his attention. LOL. Thanks, Adesha. I'm so eager to get feedback from the editors so I can move forward with things. And that's hilarious about the chickens. I would love to have some chickens cuddled up to me. I love animals so much. I do too. I do like my kitties, but I like animals. All right. I think we're going to go ahead and end it there. I'll be back again next week. Yeah. Oh, if there's anybody out there who wants to co-host with me, I have 2 sprints during the Storyteller's Hearth Write-a-thon. I've got, I think, 1 person each co-hosting with me. I have 2 of them that I'm doing. I'm doing noon Eastern on the 25th, Saturday, and 8 a.m. on Sunday Eastern. So that one's kind of early. But if anyone wants to co-host, I would love for co-host. I don't, like I said, I only got like 1 person is co-hosting with me on both of them. I'd love to have someone else join in. 3 is good. 4 is good too. I think 5 gets a bit much, but I haven't been that high, I think, for a while. But if I only end up with 1 person, it's fine. Just if anyone is interested, let me know. I think yes, and my dog really loves other dogs. He plays in a pack with, sorry, my brain is not focusing. He plays in a pack with like 8 other dogs at a doggy daycare. He's such a cuddle bug. So glad we decided to keep him. He was only supposed to be a foster. Oh, I think I remember you talking about him a while ago. And actually, I should be fostering another puppy soon. They found 3 puppies in a box in a field. Oh, I would take all 3, but they only want 1 dog going to a house so they don't get so bonded. I mean, that makes sense. I can jump in with you Sunday. Yay! I would love to have you on Sunday. Yay! Okay, awesome. That they can't be adopted separately. Oh, okay. So they don't want them to get bonded so that if someone doesn't want to get like all three dogs, then they don't have to worry about that. I get that. Just shoot me a message for the day. Will do. Yay. Awesome. Of course, I'm using talk to text, which is basically useless. I mean, it's okay. I'm used to it because I do talk to text all the time. So, all right, let's go ahead and end it there. I know I was going to end, but then I forgot. I wanted to see if anyone wants to come hang out. So it's not this weekend, but next weekend. But I'll be back with the same setup next week. And then, of course, then the Storytellers Write-a-thon is going to be the following weekend. I hope that that I'll get back in touch with you with availability. All right, I will. I'll reach out to you on Discord, because I don't know why I do better with Discord. So okay, thank you everyone for coming, and catch you guys all later. Bye, y'all.